Hi, thank you, Pulin. That was awesome. Um, in the next few slides, I'm going to talk about prompting. What is prompting? What is the strategy behind prompting? And what does it really mean? Um, you probably all heard of it before, what prompting is, right? Prompting really is, if you really think about it, is having a conversation with AI. So how do you have that conversation with AI? There are some strategies behind that, right? So earlier I was doing some research and I ran into a definition, and I think it's really good. It was on par, and it said prompt engineering is the process of designing high quality prompts that guide LLMs to produce accurate outputs, right? So AI is what? It's a pattern, right? It's not like you and I that think about it like Poulin mentioned earlier. It predicts, it has a pattern, and based on that, it provides the next word, right? So we have to figure out how do we have that conversation, and that conversation comes with some clarity, right? Providing some clarity, being very specific, and when you're being clear and specific, you have to provide some negative prompts. What is negative prompt? Hey, give me this, and I mean this, but not this, right? So providing some of those. So those are all part of strategies. It's all part of learning how to talk to AI. And the next slide, we're gonna talk about some examples and be very specific on how to create those, right? One of the, a more a recipe, a script to how to write a prompt, and it kind of categorizes it. And the way it's written now, right, what you see in front of you is called crispy. um, and CRISPE. And then we have an I in the end. We'll talk about that. It's a surprise I is hidden there. You can't see it. Well, it is. You can put it down. um,
It's
so
not part of their framework. It's part of
it's not that. Yes,
it's
exactly.
our added bonus for you.
It's added bonus on here. Exactly. So, and what does that really mean? So let's walk through that a little bit. So you want to be able to, when you're thinking through what you want to talk about with AI, the results you want to get. Sometimes what your thoughts are in your head, you start typing those, right? And this really helps you break those down into different levels. So the AI really can understand what you need and what role it needs to play. So context is really providing its background, what you need to achieve, what the situation is, or a problem is, whatever that might be, right? Or an audience in this case. So you're providing under the context, you're providing that. A lot of times, most times, it's very helpful to provide a role to AI as well. Hey, play a certain role, and we'll see that in our next example. When we have a couple of those examples, and then Amanda is also going to go through some various examples that will also show that. So you want to tell AI to, hey, these are some of the examples. This is a role I want you to play. And then instructions, right? Uh, be specific on your requirements and your goal and your results, what you're looking for. Uh, be very specific, as stands for is being very specific on what you need. Clear on your format. Do you need that in a bullet point? What is the best way for you to consume that information when that information is given to you, right? Everybody takes information in a different way. So you can provide that. Hey, give me two paragraphs. So again, going back to what is the best way you consume information, so you can put that there as well. P stands for performance. Um, what are you expecting from the quality? And this is where you would put your negative prompts on there. Things to avoid, that would go on there as well, right? So under that category. And then it also helps with providing some examples. So if you have examples that you like or a certain format that you prefer, you can provide that at the end, and it'll use that as a baseline, as a standard, right? And the reason why we put I at the end, iteration, is very important to have a conversation. Again, you're having a conversation. It's not a search. You're not putting something on Google and expecting a result and you're taking that and running with it, right? You're having a conversation with AI. So with that, you have to iterate. You have to go back and forth and have that conversation till you're satisfied with the answer that you're looking for, and also review what you're getting, right? So you want to make sure that it is removing the bias, or it is truthful, it is accurate to what you need. So that I is also very, very
You're
important
still
to
the
have.
expert, right, Nor? I think that's the big point here is
Yep,
that you're still the
exactly.
expert of the
Yes,
domain in terms of you might not know the answers to what you're asking, but you're the expert in your question. And I think that's the difference. So
that's it.
a
You hit
lot
it.
of this is very interconnected. So things that might be in instruction may also be in specific. Like you don't have to write it all separately. Just understand that these are things that if you are clear about, it will do a really good job. I mean, negative prompts are incredible and they are very powerful. I used to never use them, and once I started, it changed my life. Right. And a simple example is the Apple one. Like like, and you'll see that in my future examples. But hey, use the apple, the company, and not the fruit. I mean, something so silly as that. But again, this is not human. It is it is still machine. So we got to help it differentiate those things.
Right, and you're right, and you're doing the thinking, right? You're providing what you need on there. If you're going to allow the AI to think for you, it's going to give you whatever it thinks it needs to give you based on its pattern and predict and give you everything in the whole world, right? So you want to narrow that down, have your thought process there, and use this recipe to, narrow things down for
And it's your
yourself. So
personality too, right? Nor,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't emphasize that enough because this is the way you talk to Gen AI is going to be very different from the way I do, and it will produce more content from you if it has good examples of the way you would write those or the and those things. And once I find a type of prompts that I really like, I put them in my own personal prompt library. Those are so incredibly useful. Like, especially for context, I don't want to redo that every single time, so I create my own context library. And in Common AI, you have ways to do that today. So you can already build some of those things in the agent builder that you can do today. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and Blim, you said something that kind of triggered, even if your prompt is the same prompt, and every time you apply that prompt, your answer will always be different than the previous one that you use. So it's
Yeah,
never going to be the exact same answer
sure.
you're going to get. So it's very important to review and iterate and go back and forth and make sure, and like you said, you're the expert, so make sure you're keeping an eye on all that. But it's a
100%.
time saver.
Yep.
All right, so ready for one example? I have one when we go to the next page here.
We're already
Uh,
there. I moved up.
oh, you did. All right, cool. Because I know it's exactly the same. So I didn't know I moved that. I was looking at you. All right, so Amanda is a serious person. You never see her smiling and everything else. So she's going to use a very, very work appropriate examples after this one. So I chose a fun one to me, I guess, not everyone, but we'll see. So I wanted to compare two cars. So what I did was one first I my thought came in and I created a prompt and I just put it in there and see what comes up, right? So it was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. It was very general, and it provided how what AI thought I wanted or needed, right? So it came up what he thought that it knows me, and then I created a prompt in this format, and it was very precise to what I like to consume in format, the format I can like to consume in, right? So I took two cars. I took a BMW M440i and I took a CLE 53 AMG, two mid-size performance cars. I wanted to see what it comes up with. Um, and I put it in a context where, hey, I want the background, right? It provided a background. I am deciding between two luxury convertible for purchase next year. I am working professional in my mid 30s, as you can tell, with limited car knowledge, and my audience is an online car enthusiast forum, right? So we provided a background. It knows who I am, what I'm looking for, and I wasn't lying at all. That's right. So I went to the next.
The 30-year-old was on point. You gotta
Hey,
stop
in my
dyeing that
mind, that's
hair.
how I
Yeah,
am. My
stop
heart and my
dyeing that hair,
mind.
man. All right,
my,
roll.
my heart and my mind.
It's the same age as the whole team. I don't know how we're all
Oh
in
yeah,
that
he's
together.
exactly right. He's
The
Yeah.
exactly
collective
right.
average. That's why we have student employees. It brings our average down. We love it. All right. All right. So next one's
uh,
roll.
Role. See, that's the part. It's very important. We're giving it a role. act as a senior automotive analyst, right, with 15 years of experience. So we provided a role and we give it instruction, provide detailed, objective comparison. So we want comparison between the two cars, right? We want to focus on the performance side of it, the maintenance, because that's very important, right? And reliability. Um, and whatever the other features that really stand out between the two, right? And then
And
being very
sorry,
specific.
Noor, I think
Yeah.
this is highlighting again how this is so personal to Nerali
Hmm.
versus
Hmm.
what I would write. I could care less for us. I don't even know what a senior automotive analyst would be, right? So for me, it would be like, hey, my role would be more like, hey, a techie that loves technology inside cars because that's really all I care about. I could care less if it's a V8 or a V6 or whatever. Give me my electric and just give me my tech. That's all. My role would be more towards that.
Yeah, I
And
want a
mine would be
techie and I
asking
don't
how
want to
many
hear
cup holders it has.
it.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
See, yep, that's exactly right.
Amanda's would
Um,
be consider you're a cup holder expert.
yeah,
Find me the car with the most cup hold.
that's right. Um, and then performance. You want to, you know, what success means to you, right? Clearly organize, be accurate, highlight practical implications for first time luxury car buyer, right? So what is important to you on that area is very important. Avoid any bias, avoid any technical jargon, and this is where you also would add in your negative prompts. So there's some things that you don't want it to look or the other way around, you would add it here, right?
So
And
would
then
you
if you have an
consider
example,
Tesla a luxury brand? Would your negative prompt be do not include Tesla?
exactly, I would absolutely put that here because I want to hear the car driving.
Fair enough.
Yeah, even though I own a Tesla, but
Yeah. Also, you're lying about a luxury. I know what you drive right now. So bunch of lies in all this.
yeah, all of them making all this up, you
All
know.
right.
So,
Give me an
and then you provide
example.
some examples to it, right? So, when putting that in, you get a very accurate. So it turned out it gave it. We should have had an example here. Sorry. It turns out it gives you a nice table comparing all the features, the cost, it, in a very nice organized table, and it compares that apple to apple between two cars, and it gives you two paragraphs forming just like I asked, give me a very, accurate assessment on both of those, and it provided that, and it helps me make my decision. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I need to add more to this. This is enough, but
So
not
that's
enough for
sorry,
me.
Nord. So that you're
Yeah.
saying that that's an example of the output, right? So you put
Yep.
something that you already liked that maybe you saw on the internet or something that existed, and you put an example. You gave that to AI and said, "Hey, I want you to create
Yep.
something like this," right?
Mhm. Or even look
Very
at
cool.
like in this example with the car and drivers, right? Annual
Yeah,
convertible you
yeah,
showcase. So you can put that on there and say, hey,
and that's an
look that
example
as an
too. Sure.
example too.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah. And that will, get you started. And then this when you start talking back and forth. So here you go, Amanda. No smiling. You're very serious. This is work stuff. This is
Yeah.
business.
All right. So next, Amanda's going to go through some prompts that we generated based on some of the personas that we have in OIT to hopefully get your creative juices flowing. So Amanda, what do you want to do? Do you want to do
I want to
we
do the desktop one first because I do like
desktop
that.
one?
A couple of things I want
All
to point
right. We start with
there.
one.
All right. So again, I think Pullen and Raleigh kind of mentioned that we are certainly not the experts in your role in your job, and that's one of the fun things I think about being able to prompt and being able to work in AI is that we can we can generate this information from a new perspective. So we may be the expert in our area, but if we're trying to understand other areas, we can put in some prompts and put in some ideas
But
and look
wait,
at
Amanda, I'm not even the expert in the areas that I think I am because Brian Kinnaman tells me all the time to stop involving yourself in desktop support stuff. You don't know what you're talking about. And Norelli tells me the same thing on the other side. So I don't know where to go. So hopefully you'll help me with that.
go to go to AI.
Okay. All right.
But no, I think that's one of the fun things is that we can be the expert in how to structure and to think through the information, but we don't have to be the knowledge expert necessarily in this area and to be able to formulate something that can at least help us better understand. So we try to think of things that you and your team might have to do on a daily basis or a routine basis. And so one of these, I know, at least for emerging tech, creating a troubleshooting guide or knowledge base article, that is something we routinely do. And I know desktop support does that as well. So rather than having to think through and structure it 100% on your own, putting it in this crispy formula allows you to think through it a little bit differently. So here we put that the goal is to create that step-by-step troubleshooting guide for a university IT issue, specifically VPN connectivity, that can be used for both new support staff and end users. So this is a multifaceted purpose. And what I really like about this prompt, I won't read every section, but I did want to highlight the context, the importance of putting it in the perspective of who you are in this role. So working in central IT desktop support at a large university, you could be even more specific if you needed to and specify UT Dallas, and experience a high volume of tickets regarding faculty and staff having trouble connecting to VPN. And the, let's say, Secure Connect 365. So if we wanted to create an easy to follow guide that both our level 1 techs and our end users would be able to use, that's the goal of this whole prompt that we've put in here. I just saw your post, Bill. Sorry, donuts.
That's what I was thinking of the whole time, I swear.
I'm just getting hungry. Hurry it up, Amanda. I need to buy donuts.
But yeah, so just going through and being able to put those different specifications. I'll jump down to the performance section too, because I think that this is important as well. Being able to specify things that I love this, that should be able to resolve the issue in less than 7 minutes. It's just putting very clear expectations on what you are needing, how somebody should be able to use what is produced. And again, that negative prompting, avoid using overly complex networking jargon, right? We need this to be accessible to anyone at any level and create a guide. And then we put in the example of what that successful guide would look like between the client server-side issues, and put an example of verify the user can log in to the university portal. And if they can't, the issue is authentication, right? We're giving an example. And when you put an example in your prompts, there's a difference between zero-shot prompting and one-shot prompting. Zero-shot means you're allowing the AI to just kind of think for itself as to what would be the best information to give you. It's having to figure that out. When you give it a general guide, a one-shot prompt, an example, it has a bit better boundaries and a barometer of what you're looking for. So you can anticipate that the response that it's going to generate is going to be even better for you. I'm going to move ahead to another one. Let me see.
Which one?
I'm looking. There was one. Okay, number 4, infrastructure. And we'll send out this slide deck, so we won't go over all of them. We wanted you to at least see some of these structures. So like Poulin said, if there's a structure that works for you or an idea, you could add it to your prompt library, but I won't go through all of them because I know we've got some other content that we want to get to. So what I love about this is, I am guilty of using AI a lot for more of the longer text format. And I think Poulin made a great point in one of our previous sessions of, just if it's too long, you're not going to want to read it. We don't have to generate prompts that it's always in a text format. And what I really like about this example is we're generating a comprehensive checklist for complex server migration. So rather than having it be, and we could have had an entire documentation, right? A big strategy document, but instead we wanted it to generate a checklist. And you can do this. You can generate it in whatever form that you want. I've even done word clouds and just kind of some fun ways to present information as opposed to the normal textual data. So in this one, in the instruction, we wanted it to generate a detailed sequential pre-migration checklist for an application server cutover. The list must cover all the steps required in the 48 hours prior to the final DNS switch, including steps related to security, data synchronization, testing, and rollback planning. So this is just a different way to think through some of the things that it can generate for you, and how you want that output. You are able to specify exactly what you're looking for. And I don't know, just for me personally, I normally forget to think about new ways of receiving this information. Um, and so we do specify in that output a numbered checklist. We want it divided into logical sections. We list what those sections should be. And then in addition, putting in that 20 actionable steps. So you can specify that, as well as what I love about this one too is we included the tone of voice. And here we did want it highly technical and direct. So depending on what your unique needs are for each individual prompt or project, putting in that clear specification expectations can really transform what it is, what output it's generating for you. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to cover on those, Poulin, because I do want to give you plenty of time for your project, because I love seeing it, and I think the group here is going to be super excited to see it as well.
Okay, but should I share the secret sauce of these with the group?
Yes.
Okay, so we didn't write these. We had AI write them. We had yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it, right? And I mean, you can give it a little bit of a prompt and say, hey, follow this format and give me a better prompt. You don't even have to write this prompt. You don't have to get this detailed, but give it enough to where it can generate this for you. Then you can use this to generate the bigger content, right? I love this example a lot because it has so much gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from a numbered checklist to maybe that's not how you consume it. Maybe you want it in a different format. I mean, who knows? So I absolutely love this. Okay. Big part of AI literacy does not mean, it means we want to orient you to AI, not just what is available today, what is available to you through the university, but what exists out there. And I'm going to show you some things, but I want to give a very big caveat. Do not put UTD specific things into things that are that we don't have agreements with. So the things that our platform team has not told us that, hey, like Comet AI or Copilot, I would not put anything that is very specific to UTD, especially things that could be considered sensitive, right?